Your deepest sleep could be under attack every single night, and you might not even know it. A small, hidden habit could be draining your energy and focus day after day. Today, you'll learn how to break this cycle and give your body the rest it truly needs. I want to start by sharing something that might seem simple, but that quietly shapes the quality of your nights and the energy you carry into your days. Most people think of deep sleep as something that depends only on stress levels, diet, or maybe how comfortable their bed is. But there's a hidden link between the bladder and your brain's ability to fully recharge at night. And this link is so often ignored that it quietly erodes your health without you even noticing. Think about your evenings. Maybe you enjoy a cup of coffee after dinner, a soda while watching TV, or even a large glass of water before bed to stay hydrated. These are habits that many people in the US have as part of their daily routine. The problem is, these drinks, especially those with caffeine, sugar, or carbonation, do more than just quench your thirst. They put your bladder on overtime, at the exact moment your body should be winding down. Even if you don't wake fully to use the bathroom, the messages your bladder sends to your brain are enough to interrupt the deepest stages of sleep. And here's where it gets tricky. Deep sleep isn't just nice to have. It's the phase where your body repairs muscles, balances hormones, and cleans waste from brain cells. Without it, your mornings feel heavier, your focus weaker, and over time, your health can take a turn you'd never connect to something as simple as a nighttime drink. I know this might sound surprising. After all, having a drink before bed feels harmless, even healthy if it's water. But the timing is everything. Your kidneys don't slow down just because it's bedtime. If you load your system with fluids late at night, your bladder fills while you sleep. The pressure builds, the nerves send signals, and your brain responds, even if you stay half asleep. That means less time in the restorative, deep stages of rest. There's also the caffeine factor. Many Americans consume coffee, tea, or chocolate late into the evening without thinking twice. Caffeine isn't just a stimulant, it's also a diuretic, which means it encourages your body to produce more urine. Combine that with sugar or artificial sweeteners found in sodas, and you've got the perfect recipe for bladder irritation and nighttime interruptions. Now, I promised you something special. At the end of this content, I'm going to share a bonus tip that not only protects your bladder, but also helps you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer without depending on medication or complicated rituals. It's something few people talk about, but it can make a world of difference once you put it into practice. Before we get there, it's important to understand this. The body's nighttime rhythm is delicate. One small habit can tip the balance. By paying attention to when and what you drink in the evening, you give your body the chance to dive into deeper, more healing sleep. That's not just about feeling rested. It's about giving your brain and body the nightly maintenance they need to keep you sharp, strong, and balanced. This is where the journey begins. And if you think the bladder's role ends here, you're in for a surprise. Because next, we're going to uncover the way your bladder and brain communicate during the night. A connection so powerful that neglecting it can quietly chip away at your overall health for years. The next insight is one of the most important, and missing it won't just reduce your results. It could bring health setbacks you'd rather avoid. When we think about sleep, we usually picture the brain as the main player. But what if I told you your bladder is part of the conversation, literally sending signals that can decide whether you get a full, restorative night's rest or not? This is where the science gets fascinating, and it explains why so many people struggle with fatigue without realizing the cause. Inside your body, the bladder and the brain are in constant communication through a network of nerves. During the day, these signals help you respond to the urge to urinate. At night, however, they should be quiet enough to let you drift into deep, uninterrupted sleep. But for many people, those signals remain active, sometimes because the bladder is overfilled, other times because it's irritated by certain foods or drinks consumed hours earlier. Even a small amount of bladder pressure can be enough to send wake-up messages to your brain. What's surprising is that you may not fully wake up. Instead, you're pulled into lighter sleep stages without realizing it. That's why you can spend a full 8 hours in bed and still wake up tired. Your brain never got the deep restoration it needs. In the United States, common evening habits often make this problem worse. Many people snack on salty chips or processed foods before bed. High sodium levels lead your body to retain water, which means your kidneys will work overtime during the night to process the excess fluid. Add in a late-night soda or a nightcap drink with alcohol, both of which can irritate the bladder, and you have a recipe for sleep that looks long but feels short. There's also a lesser-known factor: bladder sensitivity. Over time, repeated nighttime disruptions can train your bladder to send urgency signals more quickly. That means even small volumes of urine can trigger the same response as a full bladder, making it harder to achieve deep sleep on a consistent basis. This isn't just about comfort. It's about protecting your brain's ability to repair itself, balance hormones, and store long-term memories. Understanding this connection is empowering because it means you can take simple, concrete steps to protect your sleep. Being mindful of what you eat and drink in the hours before bed can dramatically reduce these bladder-to-brain interruptions. For example, limiting caffeine after late afternoon, avoiding excess salt in evening snacks, and steering clear of sugary or carbonated drinks at night can all make a noticeable difference. But here's the part that many overlook. Even without fluid overload, certain foods and additives can irritate the bladder lining and send signals that disrupt sleep. This means your evening choices matter just as much as your total fluid intake. Recognizing and adjusting these habits can be the key to reclaiming nights of deep, uninterrupted rest. And remember, your sleep is the foundation for everything: energy, mood, memory, and even immune health. Disruptions from poor bladder habits are not something to dismiss as just getting older or normal. They're signals that your body needs a different approach. The next piece of insight is one of the most critical to your results. Overlooking it won't just limit the improvements you can make, it could set the stage for health challenges that you have the power to prevent. By now, you understand that your bladder is not just a storage tank, it's an active participant in your sleep quality. But here's something most people don't realize. The impact of nighttime bladder disturbances extends far beyond simply feeling tired the next day. When your deep sleep is consistently interrupted, your entire body feels the ripple effects, sometimes in ways that seem completely unrelated to your urinary habits. Deep sleep is the stage where your body performs essential repairs. During this time, your immune system strengthens its defenses, your brain processes memories and emotions, and your hormones rebalance. Missing out on this stage, even partially, creates a subtle form of stress on your body. This isn't the same as feeling stressed out mentally. It's a physiological stress that slowly changes how your body functions. For example, research has shown that fragmented sleep can influence insulin sensitivity, making it harder for your body to manage blood sugar levels. Over time, this can lead to higher risks of metabolic issues. Poor sleep also alters the balance of hunger-related hormones like leptin and ghrelin, which can increase cravings for high-calorie, processed foods. That's one reason people who struggle with sleep often find themselves reaching for sugary snacks or fast food the next day, a pattern that's especially common in the United States, where convenience food is everywhere. But here's where the bladder's role becomes even more significant. These nighttime disruptions don't just deprive you of rest, they also trigger a chain reaction that can affect cardiovascular health. Frequent awakenings, even partial ones, increase heart rate and blood pressure temporarily. While occasional disruptions are normal, making them a nightly habit by ignoring bladder health can set the stage for long-term strain on your circulatory system. And it's not just about physical health. Your emotional balance is also tied to the quality of your sleep. When deep sleep is cut short, the brain's ability to regulate mood suffers. You may feel more irritable, less patient, or less motivated to make healthy choices. This can create a cycle where poor sleep leads to poor habits, which then make it even harder to sleep well. The good news is that this is not a one-way street. By making conscious changes to your evening habits, you can reverse much of this damage. Adjusting fluid intake timing, avoiding bladder-irritating foods and drinks at night, and supporting healthy sleep hygiene can give your body a chance to restore itself naturally. Still, awareness alone isn't enough. You need to take action consistently. Even small improvements can lead to noticeable changes in energy, mood, and focus within a week or two. And as your sleep improves, you may find it easier to make other positive lifestyle choices, creating a reinforcing loop of better health. If you've been thinking, I just wake up at night because I'm getting older, it's important to challenge that assumption. Age does play a role in bladder sensitivity, but habits are often the bigger driver. Ignoring them allows small issues to grow into bigger ones. The next advice I'm about to share is one of the most important pieces in this puzzle. If you skip it, your improvements may be minimal, and you could even face additional setbacks that are entirely avoidable. At this point, we've seen how disrupted sleep from poor bladder habits can ripple through your body, affecting everything from metabolism to mood. But many people don't realize that some of the worst offenders are habits they've never connected to bladder health. These are things you might do without thinking, but they quietly set the stage for nightly interruptions. Take caffeine, for example. Most people know coffee can keep them awake, but fewer realize that even an afternoon cup can still affect their bladder hours later. Caffeine isn't only a stimulant, it's a diuretic, meaning it increases urine production. This effect can linger well into the night, especially if combined with sugar, which itself can irritate the bladder lining. In the US, and it's common to drink sweetened iced tea, energy drinks, or even chocolate-based beverages after dinner, not realizing they can keep the bladder active long after bedtime. Alcohol is another hidden disruptor. While it might make you feel relaxed or even sleepy at first, it interferes with the body's natural sleep cycle and stimulates urine production. That means you're more likely to wake during the night, not just to use the bathroom, but also because your brain struggles to stay in deep sleep. Many people think a nightcap helps them rest, but in reality, it often does the opposite. Then there's the role of evening meals. Salty, processed foods, like chips, pizza, or fast food burgers, cause your body to hold on to extra fluid before eventually trying to expel it, often during the night. High-fat meals can also cause indigestion that disrupts sleep quality. Pair that with carbonated sodas, and you have a perfect storm for bladder irritation and sleep interruption. Even clothing choices can play a role. Tight waistbands or restrictive underwear can place subtle pressure on the bladder, increasing the urge to urinate. While this might seem minor, every additional signal sent from the bladder to the brain increases the risk of shallow, broken sleep. The surprising thing is how these small factors add up. One late coffee might not be an issue. One salty dinner might pass without problem. But when these habits repeat, they create a pattern that your bladder and brain learn to expect and respond to night after night. The empowering part is that you can break this cycle. By identifying and adjusting just a few of these hidden habits, you can dramatically reduce nighttime bladder signals. That might mean switching to non-caffeinated herbal teas after 4 p.m., limiting alcohol in the evening, opting for lighter dinners with less sodium, and choosing loose, breathable sleepwear. It's important to remember that bladder health is not separate from overall health. Your nightly comfort, energy levels, and even your long-term well-being depend on these small, daily choices. The more you respect this connection, the more consistently your body will reward you with deep, restorative rest. The next insight I'm going to share is among the most crucial. Skipping it could limit your progress and potentially cause challenges you could otherwise prevent entirely. By now, it's clear that the way you treat your bladder in the hours before bedtime has a direct impact on the depth and quality of your sleep. But knowing what not to do is only half the equation. The real transformation comes when you start creating habits that actively support your bladder and nervous system at night. These are the practices that allow your body to settle into a state of calm, free from unnecessary interruptions. One of the simplest yet most effective strategies is to establish a hydration schedule. Instead of loading your body with fluids late in the evening, focus on drinking the majority of your water earlier in the day. By mid to late afternoon, start tapering down your intake so your bladder has time to process excess fluids before you go to bed. This doesn't mean dehydrating yourself. It means being intentional about timing so you can sleep without constant bladder signals. Equally important is creating a wind-down routine that supports your bladder's comfort. For example, using the bathroom twice before bed, even if the second time is just a precaution, can significantly reduce nighttime interruptions. Many people underestimate how much residual fluid the bladder can hold even after the first trip. By giving it another opportunity to empty, you help your body settle for the night. Choosing the right evening beverage also matters. Herbal infusions like chamomile, rooibos, or peppermint can help relax the body without overstimulating the bladder, provided they're naturally caffeine-free and not overly strong. The key is to prepare them in a way that supports rather than sabotages your rest. Avoid steeping them for too long, which can make them more potent as diuretics, and keep the portion modest. Temperature in your sleeping environment also plays a role. If your bedroom is too warm, you may wake thirsty and reach for water during the night, starting the cycle over again. A cool, comfortable room can minimize that urge. Similarly, light exposure in the evening affects the release of melatonin, the hormone that signals your body it's time to sleep. A dim, calming atmosphere tells your entire system, including the bladder, that it's time to power down. Physical relaxation techniques can also help. Gentle stretches before bed release tension in the lower abdomen and pelvic area, which can reduce pressure sensations that mimic the urge to urinate. This is especially helpful if you've been sitting for long periods during the day, which can cause tightness in the hip and pelvic muscles. Consistency is where these changes really shine. It's not about making a single perfect night. It's about shaping a pattern your body can rely on. Within a week or two, you may notice you're waking up less often. Within a month, your energy and focus during the day can feel dramatically different. There's one more piece to this puzzle, arguably the most important of all. If you overlook it, you risk undoing much of the progress you've made. This next insight ties together everything we've discussed and adds a bonus technique that can multiply your results, all while protecting your health in the long term. We've covered the habits that harm your bladder at night and the ones that help it stay calm. But now it's time to put everything together into a simple, effective approach you can start using tonight. This is where the most powerful results happen, not from one single change, but from combining small, intentional actions into a routine your body can trust. The first step is preparation. About 2 hours before bed, have your final moderate serving of fluid for the night. This could be plain water or a gentle, bladder-friendly herbal infusion. One of the best options is a mild chamomile tea, brewed for no more than 3 minutes to keep it soothing without overstimulating the bladder. The portion should be small, just enough to feel satisfied, but not enough to fill the bladder quickly. Drink it slowly, giving your body time to process. Next, about 30 minutes before bed, use the bathroom. Then, as part of your bedtime ritual, use it again right before you lie down. This double visit method is simple, but can significantly reduce the chances of waking in the middle of the night. Over time, your bladder adapts to this pattern and sends fewer urgency signals during sleep. Now for the promised bonus, pairing this preparation with a brief, calming breathing exercise. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and inhale through your nose for a slow count of 4. Hold for a count of 2, then exhale through your mouth for a count of 6. Repeat this cycle for 3 to 5 minutes. This signals your nervous system to shift into a state of rest, lowers your heart rate, and reduces background tension in the pelvic muscles. The combination of a relaxed body and an emptied bladder creates the ideal conditions for deep, uninterrupted sleep. Your environment should also support this effort. A slightly cool room, comfortable bedding, and minimal noise or light create the physical comfort your body needs to stay in restorative sleep cycles. Even the best bladder habits can't work fully if your sleep setting is disruptive. Over the coming days, pay attention to the changes. You may find yourself falling asleep faster, staying asleep longer, and waking with a clearer mind and steadier energy. The beauty of this approach is that it works with your body's natural rhythms instead of against them, and it doesn't require extreme restrictions or complicated routines. The truth is, protecting your sleep is one of the most valuable investments you can make in your overall health. When your bladder is quiet, your brain can do its deepest work, repairing tissues, consolidating memories, and balancing the systems that keep you healthy. This is not about chasing perfection. It's about creating a foundation for nights that truly restore you. Now that you have the full picture, the real difference will come from putting it into action consistently. Your body responds to patterns, and with the right ones in place, you can reclaim the kind of deep sleep that supports every area of your life. These are not just tips. They're tools you can use to protect your long-term well-being while enjoying better nights and better days ahead.